I wanted to talk about something. I remembered while I was driving around. In church, we had this problem where the young people would misbehave or they would do something wrong, and the adults of the church would get together and they put together marriages. They'd actually set the marriages up. I put this on Facebook once about churches setting, and everyone was like, "No, that doesn't happen." No, heaps of people commented and said, "No, that's rubbish. You got that wrong." It's live and well. It happens all the time. In one particular case that everyone was upset about was one of the males was caught. He was going with a girl and was caught watching pornography, and he was probably 17, 18, and he had a girlfriend. So they immediately grabbed him and the girlfriend and rushed them off and got them married. The parents all got together. Now, the reason for this is it's embarrassing for the church who's supposed to be the only church to God, as they proudly often say. They go KJV, proudly the Church of God. And when it comes to the young people, they try to force them into marriage. And in some cases, the young people have actually left the church. They've just said, "No, look, we're not doing this. We're out of here. We don't want to get married. You're all trying to push us in to get married. Your parents, my parents, no, we're gone." And they'd leave, and to the shame of the whole church. What the church is doing is, it's kind of like I was reading about the Good Samaritan today, and they said that in the book said that the two people from the church saw the guy on the ground, and they didn't want to help him because the law said that they couldn't do it. What the writer said was what they were doing was they were putting God on high, but not people. And he said Jesus was trying to tell us to love God as much as we love people. Therefore, even if the law said don't do it, you'd go over and help a person. I thought personally, if your heart saw someone on the ground and needed your help, you'd help them. It wasn't about the law or anything, you just excuse yourself and apologize to God if you felt you needed to, but you go and help the person. And so the churches put the reputation of the church, they're terrified of the church reputation being shamed by young people who naturally want to, procreate or whatever, have children. And they fall in love at a young age, and, and all through history, there are many people fall in love at a young age and last their whole lifetime. But the people today are a bit less mature. The other cases, which I've recently been doing a lot of studying, is criminal groups like the mafia, pedophile groups, gang groups, and the like. Not so much sure about gangs, but groups where they break the law and with a lot of people involved. And if one of the persons finds God or decides they feel guilty for what they've done in the criminal group, they realize that this person could go to the police, so they marry them off. They watch the person like a hawk, and they have people on that person's case all the time, and then they marry the person off for someone they chose, but they trick the person into believing, the young person, that they're marrying them to someone who actually loves them, and they love that person too, because they sort of make it look like love. And if the young person's religious, then they'll try to pretend that God divinely put it all together, and they're madly in love, and they marry, and the guy, if it's a female, or the male is a narcissist. The one they marry is a narcissist, and that person, it's going to dominate them through the rest of their lives. At the beginning, it looks so stylish and beautiful, and lots of money and wealth, and and he probably, or she has a good job. Everything looks very safe and secure because the whole criminal group's backing up behind it. And any money that goes into the marriage or anything comes from the criminal activities. And anyway, so they get coerced or convinced the young person to marry the other person who's a narcissist. And that's the end of the young person's life, basically, because they're only going to be there to be dominated throughout the rest of their life so they don't go to the police. And so what I'm saying is these planned marriages still happen. Forced marriages, planned and forced. And it's like a person can be seduced into a marriage that's narcissistic without realizing they were seduced and they actually think they chose. We had an issue when we bought our house. It was not that bad a house, but they hadn't been able to sell it in maybe a year, 6 months, and they were promising everyone the quick turnovers. So what they did when we went to buy the house, that we were looking for a house, they took us to, I think it was 5 really, really, really bad houses. They were complete wrecks. And then we finally got to our house in Wairiki Place. And they said, well, what do you think of this one? And it was like heaven. It was so much better than all the rubbish. It was a nice neighbourhood, and all the other houses were shoddy, falling apart, rotten floors and walls and all sorts, and the inside was really shabby. And even though some of the other ones we were tempted, we didn't like, they were close to the road and things like that. And I didn't like that because we had a 1 week old baby. Oh no, she was about 9 months pregnant. 6 months pregnant, I think it was. Anyway, so we decided on the one which they groomed us into choosing. We thought the choice was ours, but what they did was they set it up so that all the other houses were bad. And then we took the one that we thought was the right one. This is how they'd groom you into a marriage. They'd get you to go, be around 5, say you're female, 5 guys that you just, no. And then you'd see one and think, oh, gosh, that's the one. You notice that you often see a blonde and a brunette walking around. And so if they meet a guy, he'll either like a blonde or a brunette. You'll also often see a thin woman with a dumpy girl. Like teenagers, like they both be 16. One's really dumpy and overweight, and the other one's got a perfect figure. The reason for the perfect figure, same with the dumpy one, is so that whenever they meet a guy, he'll always go for the one with the perfect figure. So it's a form of manipulation. It's a form of saying, they with a house, there were all these shitty ones, and so people are quite tricky out there, and they can use it to. Groups can use that to manipulate you into marrying someone you think is the right one, and it's not. And you end up trapped, like I was for many, many years, very miserable, and came out of it with intense, chronic depression and anxiety, and it was really bad. And so, I just want to remind you that if you're in a situation, you're thinking about marriage or anything like that, consider everything. You may consider your family. Are they a good family? Are they in any criminal activities? And have you sort of broken away from the family, found God or anything like that? Be wary. Okay. God bless you.